Okay, friends, we are talking about something that is very near and dear to my heart, embarrassing moments. Now, let's say that you have a genuinely embarrassing moment every 2 weeks. That's what 26 embarrassing moments in a year. And if you live till you're 80, that's probably about 2,000 and something embarrassing moments in your lifetime. 2,000. So we can't get hung up on them, right, guys? Like, honestly, they're happening all the time. And if they're happening to me, they're probably happening to you. Have you ever had that feeling where you're constantly replaying, maybe you're even up at night, 2 in the morning, thinking about that dumb thing you did, the dumb thing that you said, like it was a major scandal or a headline and everyone's talking about it, but everyone else probably forgot what it was altogether. Maybe you tripped in public, sent a text to the wrong person, called someone the wrong name, walked in the wrong room, said something awkward, or had an awkward silence, had toilet paper stuck to your shoe, spinach in your teeth, or waved at the wrong person, someone who didn't even see you. Well, welcome to not just being Britannia, because all those things have happened to me, but to being human. Yes, we're talking about embarrassing moments, why they happen to everyone, why they feel so intense, and how to navigate them with grace and self compassion, and of course, a sense of humor. Because confidence is not about avoiding or not having embarrassing moments and not getting embarrassed. It's about recovering, bouncing back, and letting it go. Welcome to the Be Your Own Life Coach podcast, where you master your mind and coach your own comeback. You are the hero, you are the guide, and you will learn to architect your life from the inside. I'm your host, Britannia Stowe, joined by my sister and co host, Annika Wilder. Enjoy the show. So, if you live, you work, you date, you love, you create, you speak, you travel, you socialize, basically, if you do anything, embarrassment will visit you. Basically, if you are alive, there will be a time or two where something embarrassing happens to you. Did you know that about 1 in 5 people have said that they sent a text instantly and regretted it? So that means you've sent it to the wrong person. Maybe it was a group chat, a different Adam, not your boss, Corey, but a different Corey, right? So they found in a survey that 19% of adults experience an embarrassing event weekly just by texting the wrong person. Weekly, right? So you are not alone. And this could be if autocorrect fails, been there, done that, or oversharing, saying too much, or I've had a voice to text. I don't know how many times that has screwed me up. Or I've had left a voice to text on and didn't realize it and then hit send and I couldn't go back and edit the message. Thank goodness now, usually you can go back and edit your message, but that's not always the case, right? Maybe you just sent the message to the wrong person. 20% of individuals talk about this happening on a weekly basis. So if this recently happened to you, let it go. All right. Embarrassment just means that you're living your life. You're being brave. You're trying new things. You're visible. You're speaking. You're in motion. And you're human. Okay. The most interesting people have the most fascinating stories, right? And a lot of them are embarrassing. I mean, mine aren't even that interesting now that I think about it, but I have a lot of them. As I was preparing for this episode, I was thinking, what embarrassing thing has happened to me lately? And, I glue on I do false lashes. I glue them on. And I had one that was dangling off when I was talking to someone kind of important. And I just kept on like, what is that? Like, what's on my eyelash? Well, it was my eyelash. And they just looked at me as I like navigated that conversation. I have walked out of the bathroom with toilet paper stuck to my shoe. I have worn my leggings inside out at the gym and worked out in them. I have answered the door and had chicken and spices in my teeth. I have tripped and almost hit a wall. I've tripped and fallen down. I've missed a button on my shirt. I've worn a short shirt that was see-through and I didn't even know. I struggle. This happens to me all the time. Is I don't know what push or pull means apparently, and I struggle to open a door, and inevitably there's someone standing by, like it's four letters, sweetheart. Read, push, or pull. And you know what? That's just a part of life. And as soon as you embrace that, you can let go of this heaviness that when you do something silly or awkward or a little weird, that it's the end of the world. I can't even think of some of the huge stories that have happened. I was talking to my sister Annika, who couldn't join today, and we're saying, well, wasn't there like this CEO that like got caught, on a kissing cam? I don't remember his name or what company he worked for or who he was with or even the story. And that was a big story. And how many times do those tabloids come out with, oh, her skirt is tucked in her underwear, or oh, she forgot to pluck her eyebrows, or whatever it is, right? And even when news anchors or these tabloids try to make a big deal out of something small, we forget about it. We don't care because life goes on. And now, in this day and age of technology, there's constantly new stuff coming out that our attention is being moved to something else. So even if you are kind of famous or it does go viral or whatever it might be, someone's going to get over it. Someone's not going to remember it. And we're all just going to move on. So why do you hang on to it when none of us remember, right? It's because it feels bigger than it actually is. Our brains, they suffer from what is called the spotlight effect. We tend to believe that everyone is paying attention to our awkwardness. In reality, most people don't care. They're too focused on themselves to even notice or remember. You walk into a room and someone's laughing, and you're like, oh, they're laughing about me. They didn't even know you were about to walk in that room. Why would they be laughing at you? Most people are more consumed with themselves than anybody else. No one really cares. And they probably didn't even see you run into that wall, which I swear happens to me like once a week. So sorry to break it to you. No one cares as much as you. So why do you care so much? Let it go. Most people are focused on themselves or didn't notice, or they noticed, they saw that I couldn't push or pull the door open, but they're going about their day as I should be going about mine. They're not sitting and go, oh, that girl in the gray sweatshirt really struggled with the door today. I'm going to think about this all day while I'm at work and picking up my kids and living my life and during my workout. No, nobody cares. They have other things on their mind. So really, it's like maybe they notice, but it's, what, like in one ear, out the other, but with your eyes, in your eyes and out the. See, there we go. Having an embarrassed moment right as I'm doing this podcast, saying something weird. I got to move past it. I can't let it slow me down. People are too busy worrying about their own awkwardness to even worry about mine. So I just want you to know that you are normal. I promise. Nearly half of the people who, trip and fall say that it's actually more embarrassing than physical injury. So if you do feel embarrassment easily or you're afraid to do things because you're afraid you're going to be seen, you're not alone. Public speaking is a huge fear for people because they're afraid that they're going to stumble on their words. Why are they afraid of that? Because it happens all the time. We always say something silly. I forget a word or I can't get it out of my mouth. And sometimes my brain and my mouth are not connected or on two different tracks, right? So you are not alone if you feel that it is worse to stumble in public than to get physically hurt. There was a survey actually of 2,000 adults, and they were able to track this. And they said to trip in front of other people is one of the most traumatic experiences they could ever experience. That's wild. Just tripping stubbing your toe on a piece of the sidewalk that wasn't properly painted or marked. And that is the worst thing that someone can go through. Gosh, well, I have had a lot of those. So we just keep on moving, folks. We don't let that slow us down. Embarrassment is universal. Psychologists classify embarrassment as a normal human emotion. This is tied to actual social connection and belonging. And the most common triggers of embarrassment are accidents, right? Tripping, falling, social awkwardness, maybe navigating new people, new conversations, mistakes, like not being able to push or pull a door, forgetfulness, maybe not checking to see if all your buttons are buttoned up on your shirt, or realizing you forgot your keys when you needed them, or being the center of attention. When you are telling a story, it doesn't have to be on a stage, but you're telling a story and people are listening. This happens to me when I know that someone is intently listening. My brother-in-law, Caden, Johanna's husband, he's such a good listener and he makes this like full, deep eye contact. And it starts to make me uncomfortable because I'm like, oh my gosh, he's listening to every word I say. And then I get distracted because he's listening so good that I lose track of what I'm saying and I go on a tangent and I stop talking about the thing I was talking about and I never bring it back around. And then I just go, cool, well, I don't know what I was talking about. Yeah, just being the center of attention can be kind of awkward, right? So just know that it's normal and it actually can build connectiveness. It can help you feel like you belong when you have some of these awkward moments. That especially if you can laugh at it. So, research has found that when someone responds to a minor blunder by laughing at themselves, observers see them as warmer, more authentic, and more confident than someone who appears mortified. So, if you have an embarrassing moment, if you just handle it with a little bit of grace and a little bit of humor instead of turning bright red, running away, throwing up, all of the things that I have done at one point or another because of something embarrassing, you actually help the other people feel more comfortable and you can feel more connected. So, that thing that you think you did that ruined your image or your life actually can make people feel closer to you and make you feel more relatable. But just because it's normal or relatable or can build a sense of belonging doesn't mean it's easy. It's awkward. And embarrassment is kind of an uncomfortable emotion that we feel, even though it's normal. So let's talk about how to handle when something embarrassing happens. And just because I'm speaking does not mean I'm an expert at this. I've just had a lot of practice, let me tell you. So, say are leaving and trip and fall, you struggle with the door, your dress is tucked into your underwear, you have, I don't know, poop stuck to the bottom of your shoe, whatever it is. Okay. This embarrassing thing happens. Take a breath. You will probably notice before anyone else does. So just take a moment to go, okay, this is happening, or this just happened. We don't need to fuel it with anxiety and franticness and chaos. We just, okay, I am outside and everyone can see my bum because my dress is tucked into my underwear. Cool, 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 cool. Stay calm. And then you can move through it instead of obsessing over it. Then own it slightly. Slightly, lightly. You could own it slightly too. See, another embarrassing moment, folks. We just keep going, right? So own it lightly. And this means you don't have to. I used to tell people that, if I do something like embarrassing, I would make a bigger deal afterwards so that they were laughing with me and not at me. So if I would misspeak, I would do this whole like, abada, 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 that's all, folks. And that's maybe cutesy once or twice, but it actually makes the conversation more awkward. It slows the conversation, stops the conversation, and people are going to focus on, wow, not only did you say something really weird, but then you said something even weirder after. And now I'm not thinking about the conversation we were having. I'm thinking about how weird you are. Don't make it a bigger deal. Or I would like trip and fall and no one would even notice, but I was so embarrassed that I was like, I have to make a big deal out of this to show that I'm not embarrassed. And I would lay on the ground and I would be like, oh my gosh, that was awful. Help me. I've fallen. I can't get up or whatever. Just make this huge, crazy deal. And literally, my overreaction of the event would bring more attention than the actual thing that would have been embarrassing. And no one would have seen if I had just gracefully gotten up and moved past it. So own it lightly. Like you can even say something like, whoop, that was graceful. Or, okay, we're off to a strong start. We're off to the races. Something just cutesy, something fun. For me, one of the things I often say when I think things are awkward is I'm like, I'm just gonna moonwalk out of here. And lately, I just go, mom brain, and then I move past it. And other people move past it too. So use a little bit of humor to diffuse a situation, but don't make it even bigger, right? Don't over explain. Don't make a bigger thing after the thing because that's what people are going to remember. You don't need a 10-minute speech on why you dropped your fork. No one cares. People drop their fork all the time. Let it go. So actually like apologizing and having this big explanation or thing afterwards can make something so small into a bigger deal. So don't do that. Let it go. Keep moving. If you trip, stand up. Don't stay on the ground or start acting out some like crazy scene. Just get up, brush yourself off, keep going. If you misspeak, correct it. Think of how newscasters, when they say the wrong name or they say something that they shouldn't on air, they don't go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just said that. That's awkward. Oh, geez. Oh, I haven't had my coffee today. No, they quickly correct themselves so that they can get the point across. They can get the message across. They don't sit in it. If you sit in it and you keep over explaining and don't move past it, other people won't move past it either, right? So if you spill something, clean it and keep going. You notice you missed a button or that your pants are inside out. Go to the restroom, fix it, pull yourself together, and you're going to be just fine. So that momentum, it heals the awkwardness. And grace, just having grace after the moment. It's easy sometimes to quickly pick yourself up or brush yourself off or keep with the conversation. But sometimes in the back of our mind, we're just obsessing and replaying over this dumb thing that we did or said. Even if you're not saying or talking or explaining about it, energetically, people feel that. They could feel your embarrassment. They could feel that you're thinking about it. And then they'll start thinking about it. And so it's best just to move past it, and energetically, people will feel that. Now, that can be easier said than done, like most things. So in the moment, especially if no one sees and you have some time to reflect, just ask yourself, will this matter in a week that I couldn't open the door? It probably is not going to matter in 3 minutes, honestly, right? How big of a deal is this actually? And if this happened to my friend, would I be judging them so harshly? What if the roles were reversed and I saw this happen to someone else? I probably wouldn't even like register. It'd be like passing clouds. Oh, okay. And just you keep going, right? So create that outside perspective and realize that it only feels big because it's you, but to everyone else, you're just another person trying to walk through a door, right? Ask yourself, is this embarrassing or is this just being human? Right? This is just life and us navigating, maybe not getting enough sleep or having something else on your mind and being distracted or being forgetful. All of that is okay. All of that is part of the human experience. Stop trying to be so darn perfect all the time. That's not who we are. We get embarrassed, right? It is a normal part of this life. And then ask yourself, could this be a funny story later? Is this something I could tell my spouse or my friend or at a dinner party? Could I share this with some humor? And when you do that, when you can create this humorous perspective of the event, it also can create a little bit of detachment so it doesn't feel so personal and so scary and so heavy. Humor is your superpower. People love laughing and they love hearing stories of some light self-deprecation, right? Think of your favorite comedians, and some of the stories they share are often embarrassing things or awkward things that have happened to them. So I'm not talking about self-bullying, I'm not talking about harshness. I'm talking about some warmth, some lightness, some levity, some humor. And then just be like, "Yep, it happened." And move past it. Even if someone calls you out. I mean, my husband is good at that. I do something dumb, I say something stupid, I walk into a wall, into a corner, I drop things, whatever it might be. My husband is so good at going like, "Saw that." I'm like, "Yep, that happened." But then it's over. It's over. And so we don't need to obsess about it or let it become part of our identity, right? If you're a parent, you are teaching your kids this, right? You're teaching them that mistakes happen, forgetfulness. We're learning, we're growing. It's a part of being a child. Well, guess what? You still have an inner child. There's a part of you that is still a child who is making mistakes and is learning. I hope you are learning. I hope you never stop learning. I hope you never stop trying things that are new. So give yourself some grace and tell your inner child that it's not scary to make these mistakes or these little blunders, to let go of that fear of being silly, and that there's wisdom in just getting up and moving on. You're gonna make another mistake. You're gonna do something silly. You're gonna leave the house with, a stain on your pants, or I don't know, whatever might happen. You might do something silly in a meeting, or you crack a joke and no one gets it, right? It's gonna happen, right? Probably 2,000 times if you live till you're 80, right? If you get stuck on this one thing, then it'll get easier to get stuck on the next thing. But the inverse is true. So if you can let go this last embarrassing moment, then it'll be easier to move past and let go the next mistake or misstep, right? Be like a goldfish. Forget often when it comes to these silly things and just keep swimming. So, in our Coach Yourself segment, if you are kind of stuck on an embarrassing moment, woke you up at 2 in the morning, you've been overthinking it, this is for you. If that is not your problem and you're just gliding through life and you're like me where you're like clumsy and you've come to terms with the fact that embarrassing things are going to just happen to you, then bravo. Bravo. But if you do have something that's been kind of weighing on your mind, maybe you wanted to look cool or you're trying to bond with someone and you said something that was just probably not great and you've been thinking about it, then this is for you, friends. So ask yourself, when you think about this embarrassing moment, what did it actually cost me? Did I lose my job, my child, my relationship, my money? What did I actually lose? Maybe a couple of minutes, maybe a shirt if it is really stained, right? What did you actually lose? What did this moment actually cost you? And what will it continue to cost you if you continue to think about it, right? Think about all the time you're spending and wasting not being present. But then ask yourself, what did it teach me? Maybe for me, it's to read, push, or pull, to check the house before I leave, see if your shirt is see through, right? Like There are these tiny little lessons that if you can take them will make sure and protect you a little bit better in the future. It doesn't guarantee you're not going to have an embarrassing moment, but it will give you some wisdom, right? And ask yourself, would I judge someone else as harshly as I'm judging myself? And then ask yourself, can I release it? Am I ready to let go? Am I ready to stop obsessing over this dumb thing and instead free up time and energy to think about what I do want to manifest, what I do want in my life, instead of thinking about that thing that I wish didn't happen? Am I ready to let go? And I would hope the answer is yes. Let it go. Just tell yourself this. I met this one girl. I think it was in line at Hobby Lobby. I'm always talking to someone. And she was saying that whenever something happens that's like a little heavy or she's done dealing with it, she blows it to God. So she goes, okay, that's for you. I'm done holding it. You could do that with your embarrassing moment. All right. You're done holding it. Let's take it, put it in our hands, and then blow it to God, blow it to the universe. I'm done. I'm physically letting it go, energetically letting it go. And then ask, can we laugh about this? Can we look at ourselves with a little bit of sense of humor and not take ourselves so dang seriously? I think we can. I think we can see a little bit of humor. And if you have a little bit of humor in these situations, your life will be lighter. We don't always have to have things that are heavy feel so heavy all the time. You know, imagine yourself as a comedian. How would you tell this story if you were on stage or, building awareness that you're going to be touring? How would you tell this story? How would you make it fun for other people to experience? How would you make it fun for you to tell, right? Make it fun. Make it a fun story. And then choose freedom instead of replaying it. Just let it go, guys. I promise it's not that big of a deal. Embarrassing moments don't have to define you, they humanize you. And sorry, newsflash, you're human. They remind you that you're not just living life to be perfect and rigid and perfectly planned, right? You're living life to the fullest. You're open, you're expansive. And part of being open and expansive in life is trying new things and being open to what life brings you. So see the humor in these moments. We do need levity, especially when the world feels heavy. The goal is not to avoid embarrassment. The goal is to become the kind of person who can survive it, laugh about it, and keep going. Remember, you can have an embarrassing moment and not live in the feeling of embarrassment because every confident person that you've ever admired has at least one or two embarrassing stories that they're hoping no one else remembers. And you know what? They probably don't. So embrace your clumsy, silly parts because, honey, they need love too. This has been another episode of the Be Your Own Life Coach podcast. If you found value in today's conversation, subscribe and share the love. And remember the teachings of Lao Tzu. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Until next time, trust yourself, take the wisdom, take the breath, and take the next step.